You ever wonder what people don't tell you about someone who seems to have it all? The glitz, the glamour, the red carpets, the royal engagements. They make it look like life is perfect, effortless even. But behind that polished exterior, there can be a story so wild, so unbelievable, that it makes you question everything you thought you knew. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Today, we're diving into one of the most explosive claims about Meghan Markle, the kind of revelations that, if true, would shock not just her fans, but the entire world. Imagine this. A bar owner in Argentina is coming forward, claiming that before Meghan even met Prince Harry, she had a past most people could never imagine. According to this insider, Meghan wasn't just socializing in exclusive circles. She allegedly worked as a call girl for cocaine dealers. Yes, you heard that correctly. Allegedly. Now, before you dismiss this as just another tabloid rumor, let's pause for a second. Argentina, Buenos Aires specifically, is a city of lights and shadows. The kind of nightlife where millionaires, politicians, and people with dangerous connections mix, often in ways that never make it to the headlines. The bar owner who's speaking out claims to have first-hand knowledge of Meghan's interactions in these circles. And it's not just casual gossip. She alleges stories that involve high-stakes deals, late-night parties, and connections that could easily ruin reputations. So why should we even care? Why does this matter in 2026, years after Meghan became a household name as a royal? Because if any part of this story holds weight, it reframes the entire narrative that the media, the public, and even the palace have been telling for years. It questions the seemingly seamless transition from a Hollywood actress to a future princess. It forces us to ask, did Meghan reinvent herself, or did she simply hide parts of her past behind charm and ambition? And if these claims are true, how did Harry and the royal family not see it coming? Let's back up for a moment and consider the source. A bar owner, angry, frustrated, and willing to speak out publicly, often has a perspective that outsiders can't access. These are people who see the nightlife up close, who meet the personalities behind the facades, who witness things that no camera or reporter can capture. According to her, Meghan wasn't just another attractive woman trying to make it in social circles. She had a specific role, a purpose that involved people with dangerous lifestyles. And this isn't just a vague allegation. There are details, dates, names, events. Some of them are mundane, some shocking, and some so jaw-dropping they make you pause. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This story isn't just about scandal. It's about transformation. It's about ambition and strategy. It's about the lengths some people go to in order to climb social ladders and secure positions in elite worlds. Think about Hollywood for a second. People constantly reinvent themselves. They hide parts of their past. They curate their image. And sometimes they make choices that would shock everyone if they came to light. That's the context for this story. Meghan's alleged past, as described by this Argentine bar owner, is not just salacious, it's strategic. It's calculated. And that's what makes it so compelling. Now, some of you might be thinking, this sounds like a tabloid story. Why would we believe it? That's a fair question. The answer is, belief doesn't matter at first. It's curiosity that counts. Curiosity about what could have happened, about the hidden worlds that few people ever see, and about the choices that define people before they step into the spotlight. And there's another reason this story is significant: timing. Meghan's past is inextricably linked to Harry's present. Every choice she made before meeting him, every connection she allegedly formed, could have influenced the path that led them to the palace, to the public eye, and ultimately to global scrutiny. So let's set the stage properly. Imagine the streets of Buenos Aires at night. The neon lights reflect off the cobblestones. Bars and nightclubs pulse with music. The wealthy mingle with the reckless, the famous mix with the infamous, and secrets are exchanged as casually as cocktails. In the middle of this, according to the bar owner, is Meghan Markle, ambitious, charming, and allegedly navigating a world most of us only see in movies or read about in gossip columns. She's attending exclusive parties, rubbing shoulders with powerful people, and allegedly performing a role that goes far beyond social networking. This is not a sanitized story of cocktail parties and photo ops. It's a story with risk, danger, and high stakes. And here's where it gets really interesting. The bar owner describes Meghan's demeanor in these settings as confident, controlled, almost like she had rehearsed every gesture and every word. But beneath the surface, the bar owner claims there were alliances, favors, and interactions with people connected to cocaine networks. These weren't casual encounters. According to her, they were deliberate and strategic. It paints a picture of a woman who knew what she wanted and who was willing to navigate risky environments to get there. Now, consider the narrative we've been fed for years. Meghan, the American actress, meets Prince Harry, falls in love, and they create a modern fairy tale. But if these claims are true, there's an entirely different backstory. A story of calculated moves, dangerous liaisons, and secrets that could shake even the most devoted royal watchers. And here's the kicker. This bar owner isn't just making vague statements. She has a history with Meghan's social circles. She claims to have witnessed interactions firsthand, and she is speaking now because, according to her, people need to know the truth before it's too late. So what does this mean for Harry? For the royal family? For the public who has watched Meghan's rise for years? If any of this is accurate, it changes the lens through which we view her relationship with Harry, her ambitions, and the choices she made along the way. And that's exactly why this story matters now. It's not just about the past. It's about how past actions can ripple forward, affecting lives, reputations, and legacies. And here's something that makes this story irresistible: the contradictions. On one hand, you have the polished, sophisticated public persona. On the other, the bar owner's claims suggest a more shadowy, complex figure, navigating dangerous situations with skill and precision. It's the classic story of dual identities, the tension between public image and private reality. And humans are naturally drawn to tension, to conflict, to the question of whether someone's life is really as perfect as it seems. Now, I want you to imagine sitting in that bar in Buenos Aires, watching Meghan interact with people you'd never want to cross. Imagine hearing the whispers, seeing the alliances, and understanding that what appears glamorous may carry serious consequences. That's the world the bar owner is exposing, and it's a world that very few outsiders have ever glimpsed. It's also a world that allegedly shaped Meghan before she ever met Harry, before the royal cameras, before the global spotlight. By now, you're probably asking, what exactly did she do? Who did she meet? How deep did it go? And that's the beauty of this story. The answers are coming, but they're not coming all at once. Each revelation will layer upon the last, building tension, suspense, and shock. And as we go chapter by chapter, you're going to start to see patterns, connections, and choices that might explain things we've all wondered about for years. Have you ever walked into a place where the air itself seems to vibrate with secrets? Buenos Aires at night is like that. Lights reflecting off slick cobblestones, music spilling from bars and clubs, the scent of whiskey and mystery mingling with the cold evening air. This is where our story begins, not in a royal palace or Hollywood studio, but in a world far removed from the public eye. According to the bar owner who's speaking out, this is where Meghan Markle's story before Prince Harry took a sharp, unexpected turn. The bar, tucked away in a side street of Palermo, wasn't the kind of place you'd stumble upon by accident. Its unassuming exterior hid a universe of power and influence. The kind of influence that could make or break reputations, fortunes, even lives. Inside, wealthy patrons rubbed elbows with those who lived on the edges of legality. And in this swirl of cocktails and whispered deals, the bar owner claims Meghan was already playing a role, charming, poised, and entirely in control. What's striking, the bar owner says, is how natural Meghan seemed in this environment. She wasn't out of place. She didn't stumble through the conversations or shy away from the powerful figures who commanded attention with a mere glance. No, she held her own. She moved like someone who had done this before, someone who understood the dance of influence and danger. And yet, there was something else, something subtle, a tension behind her eyes that suggested awareness of the stakes around her. The bar owner recounts nights where Meghan would attend gatherings that weren't just parties. They were showcases of power, networks of people connected to wealth, politics, and, allegedly, narcotics. These weren't casual social meetings. These were strategic interactions. And the bar owner insists that Meghan didn't just mingle. She performed a function. According to her, She was involved in facilitating introductions, attending certain high-end events, and allegedly providing favors for clients tied to cocaine networks. It's a claim that, if true, redefines the narrative of Meghan's early years. Now, some might question why this bar owner would speak out after all this time. The answer, she says, is simple: frustration. Frustration at a world that glorifies reinvention while conveniently ignoring inconvenient truths. She describes herself as someone who saw it all firsthand and watched Meghan navigate this high-risk environment with precision. The stories she tells are filled with names, dates, and interactions that create a vivid picture of the world Meghan inhabited before Hollywood and the royals. It's hard not to visualize these scenes. Imagine the dim lighting, the low hum of conversation punctuated by laughter, the clink of glasses. Patrons are laughing, flirting, and negotiating in tones that carry unspoken weight. In the midst of it all is Meghan, calm and collected, her every word measured, her every gesture intentional. She's engaging with people whose reputations precede them, some rumored to be connected to the cocaine trade. And according to the bar owner, Meghan navigated this world with the same poise she later displayed on international red carpets. But here's the twist that keeps this story gripping. The bar owner insists that Meghan wasn't just a socialite or an ambitious actress in training. She was allegedly playing a calculated role, interacting with powerful individuals in ways that some might consider morally ambiguous or even risky. And this wasn't hidden from those who knew her in these circles. Friends, rivals, and witnesses all recognized her ability to charm, negotiate, and maintain control, even in volatile situations. That kind of skill, if true, explains a lot about how she later managed the intense scrutiny of Hollywood and royal life. Of course, one has to ask, how much of this is true, and how much is embellished? That's a question that lingers throughout this story. But consider the nature of the source. A bar owner isn't someone who fabricates details lightly. They see everything, often from a position of intimate proximity. The bar owner describes specific nights, specific interactions, even subtle behaviors that hint at a side of Meghan the public never saw. There's an anecdote about a late-night meeting with a client allegedly connected to cocaine distribution, where Meghan allegedly managed the situation with surprising tact. It's the kind of story that, if true, shows both courage and a willingness to navigate morally gray areas to achieve her goals. And yet, there's a contradiction that makes this tale compelling. On the one hand, the Meghan we see in photos and interviews radiates sophistication, warmth, and charm. On the other hand, the bar owner paints a picture of someone operating in a world where charm can be a weapon, and every interaction carries potential risk. This duality is what makes the story riveting. Can a person really inhabit two such worlds, one public, one secret, and maintain such control over both? That's the question that threads through every chapter of this exposé. The bar owner's testimony is also colored by emotion, anger, yes, but also a sense of betrayal. She recounts nights when Meghan allegedly flaunted her connections, her confidence, and the ways in which she leveraged relationships for gain. The emotion is palpable in the stories, suggesting that the bar owner feels the world deserves to know the truth. And that emotion, raw and unfiltered, gives us insight not just into Meghan's alleged actions, but into the impact they had on those around her. Now, let's take a moment to consider the setting. Buenos Aires isn't just a backdrop, it's a character in its own right. Its nightlife is seductive, dangerous, and unpredictable. Its streets are filled with opportunity, but also risk. For someone like Meghan, according to the bar owner, this city provided both a stage and a proving ground. Every night out, every encounter, every whispered conversation could have consequences, reputation, safety, even legal ramifications. And navigating this environment successfully, as the bar owner claims Meghan did, requires more than charm. It requires strategy, awareness, and, some would argue, audacity. And here's where tension spikes. The bar owner insists that not everyone in these circles was trustworthy. There were people who could turn on you in an instant, alliances that shifted without warning, and deals that could collapse spectacularly. In this environment, Meghan allegedly held her own. She wasn't naive. She wasn't merely playing a part. She was allegedly calculating, aware, and deliberate in her actions. That paints a far more complex picture than the one the media has presented over the years. Of course, stories like this are never straightforward. There are inconsistencies, rumors, and conflicting accounts. The bar owner admits that memory fades and perception can be skewed. But she is adamant about one thing. She saw Meghan operate in a world most people never imagine, and she believes it's important to share what she witnessed. It's the tension between what's documented and what's observed that makes this story both fascinating and controversial. And the stakes aren't just personal, they're historical. If even a portion of these claims is accurate, it reframes Meghan's narrative. It introduces questions about how much people in power can reinvent themselves, how secrets can influence public perception, and how past actions intersect with present consequences. It also challenges us to consider the difference between perception and reality. How much do we really know about public figures? How much do we choose to believe because it fits the story we want to see? The bar owner's accounts also suggest moments of risk and close calls. There were nights when situations could have turned violent, nights when alliances were tested, and nights when the wrong move could have had serious repercussions. And yet, Meghan allegedly navigated all of it with poise. That's the kind of story that hooks people. It's not just about scandal. It's about survival, strategy, and the human ability to adapt under pressure. As the night in Buenos Aires unfolds in these accounts, you start to see a pattern. Meghan, according to the bar owner, wasn't merely surviving. She was maneuvering, positioning, and preparing herself for something bigger. And what that something bigger would be is part of the suspense that drives this narrative forward. It's a story of ambition, but it's also a story of risk, secrecy, and hidden worlds that the public rarely glimpses. So here's the question for you. Could someone live in two worlds like this and emerge unscathed? Could a young actress navigate dangerous social networks in Buenos Aires and then later step into the global spotlight without leaving traces behind? That's the tension at the heart of this story, and it's what keeps us turning the pages, or in this case, keeps you watching. Have you ever wondered what it's like to finally speak the truth after years of silence? For the bar owner in Buenos Aires, it wasn't a simple decision. She had watched from the shadows, quietly observing, quietly judging, quietly wondering if anyone else would ever connect the dots. And then, finally, she decided enough was enough. She would speak out, and what she revealed would shock not only locals, but the global audience that follows Meghan Markle's every move. The bar owner's account begins with a vivid recollection, the first time she truly noticed Meghan in her establishment. She describes it with precision. The way Meghan walked in, confident but observant, scanning the room, noting who held influence, who smiled nervously, and who commanded attention without speaking a word. From the very first encounter, the bar owner sensed that Meghan was different. Not just ambitious, not just beautiful, but strategic in a way that suggested she understood more about power dynamics than most people half her age. She knew what she wanted, the bar owner says, and she knew exactly how to get it. That line alone sends a chill. Imagine someone walking into a room and immediately reading it like a chessboard, knowing every move before it happens. According to her, Meghan was charming, yes, but there was a calculated edge to her charm. It wasn't manipulation in the traditional sense, it was navigation. She was aware of who could help her, who could hinder her, and which people would be useful later. Every smile, every gesture, every laugh was carefully measured. The bar owner describes nights that blur the line between glamour and danger. According to her, Meghan was often seen with men who were rumored to have connections to cocaine networks, men whose reputations alone could unsettle even the most seasoned patrons. Some were businessmen, others were socialites with rumored ties to criminal enterprises. And Meghan, according to the bar owner, didn't flinch. She engaged with them, laughed, charmed, and allegedly performed roles that involved much more than casual conversation. Now, the bar owner is emphatic about one thing. These weren't the random stories you hear from gossip columnists. She claims she witnessed interactions firsthand, from the vantage point behind the bar, where she could observe without being noticed. She recalls specific nights when Meghan allegedly facilitated meetings, connected people, and navigated tense situations with poise that the bar owner admits she found remarkable and unsettling. The emotional weight of her testimony is palpable. She speaks with a mixture of awe and frustration. awe at Meghan's ability to manage high-risk environments, and frustration that the world only sees the polished, public persona. According to the bar owner, it's a disservice to the truth, to the people who were part of that world, to pretend those nights didn't happen. There's an anecdote she shares that sticks with you. One night, a particularly tense situation unfolded, allegedly involving a client with known ties to cocaine distribution. Arguments flared, voices rose, and the atmosphere was thick with tension. Everyone in the bar froze. And in the middle of it all, Meghan allegedly stepped forward. Calm, composed, and unflinching, she defused the situation. She charmed the people involved, redirected attention, and maintained control, all while keeping her composure. The bar owner recalls thinking, how does someone so young manage such a high-stakes moment with such grace? But here's the contradiction that makes the story compelling. The same woman who could defuse tension and navigate danger also allegedly engaged in activities that some would consider morally ambiguous. The bar owner claims that Meghan's interactions with certain patrons went beyond mere socializing. There were favors, introductions, and allegedly transactional engagements that blurred ethical lines. This duality, the poised, charming public face versus the allegedly calculated private actions, creates a tension that hooks the imagination. The bar owner doesn't shy away from discussing Meghan's ambition either. She recalls conversations, overheard remarks, and subtle cues that suggested Meghan was always looking forward, always planning her next move. According to her, Meghan understood that in environments like Buenos Aires nightlife, every interaction mattered. A smile could gain favor, a gesture could signal loyalty, and a misstep could cost opportunities. The bar owner paints a picture of someone constantly aware of stakes, consequences, and potential leverage. Some might ask, why now? Why speak out years later? The bar owner's answer is simple. She wanted the story to be told on her terms, before the narrative became entirely shaped by others. She felt that there was a version of events that the world deserved to hear, warts and all, and she insists that she has nothing to gain personally from revealing these stories, other than truth-telling and perhaps a sense of justice. But there's more. According to her, Meghan's conduct wasn't merely about survival or networking. It was about positioning herself for something bigger. The bar owner suggests that Meghan's interactions were strategic, laying the groundwork for connections, visibility, and influence. It's a claim that, if true, provides a glimpse into how someone could transition from Buenos Aires nightlife to Hollywood, and eventually into royal circles, without leaving a trace of her past visible to the public. The bar owner also notes the reactions of those around Meghan. Friends, rivals, and clients reportedly recognized her abilities and her potential. Some admired her, others were wary. And some allegedly resented her ability to navigate such a risky environment without apparent fear or hesitation. This tension between admiration and resentment creates a charged atmosphere that adds layers to the story. Throughout her testimony, the bar owner weaves in moments of humor and irony. She recounts instances where Meghan's charm disarmed even the most skeptical patrons. One evening, she allegedly convinced a notoriously volatile individual to reconsider a decision, all while sipping a cocktail and laughing as though nothing was at stake. The bar owner admits that watching Meghan in these moments was both impressive and unsettling. Impressive because of her skill, unsettling because of what it implied about her capability to influence people without them realizing it. And yet, despite the intrigue, there's also a human element. The bar owner speaks of moments where Meghan appeared vulnerable, moments where she seemed aware of the risks, the judgments, and the scrutiny. It's in these glimpses that we see a more complete picture. Someone who is ambitious and strategic, but also navigating fear, uncertainty, and the pressure of operating in high-stakes social environments. The bar owner also shares that there were whispers and rumors circulating in these circles, stories about Meghan's alleged past dealings, her interactions with certain clients, and the influence she wielded. These stories were never meant for public consumption, but according to her, they shaped how people perceived Meghan in her world. And while some dismissed the rumors as gossip, others took them seriously, recognizing that in Buenos Aires nightlife, perception often equaled power. She emphasizes one particular moment that, according to her, stands out as a turning point. It was a night when a high-profile client arrived unexpectedly, creating tension and uncertainty. Meghan allegedly handled the situation with remarkable tact, defusing potential conflict and maintaining control. The bar owner remembers thinking that this moment revealed Meghan's ability to manage not just social interactions, but volatile, potentially dangerous situations. It's a skill that, if true, foreshadows how she later managed media scrutiny and royal expectations. Now, here's where the story takes a darker turn. The bar owner hints at connections that go beyond mere nightlife interactions. She alleges that Meghan was involved, in some capacity, with people who had ties to cocaine networks. The specifics are murky, and the bar owner is careful to frame them as observations and accounts rather than hard evidence. But the implication is clear. Meghan's world was more complex, more dangerous, and more strategically navigated than the public narrative suggests. And yet, there's a paradox here. The same woman who allegedly operated in these risky circles would later project an image of elegance, sophistication, and moral authority. It's a juxtaposition that fuels curiosity and speculation. How does someone reconcile such different worlds? How do you move from facilitating high-stakes social dynamics in Buenos Aires to marrying into one of the most scrutinized families in the world? The bar owner's testimony doesn't answer that fully, but it hints at a story of calculated ambition, adaptability, and perhaps even reinvention. Finally, the emotional weight of the bar owner's account is impossible to ignore. She speaks of frustration at the disconnect between the public persona and the private actions she allegedly witnessed. She speaks of awe at Meghan's skill and strategy. And she speaks of a sense of urgency, a feeling that the world should know the truth before it's too late. Her words carry tension, drama, and a sense of inevitability, as if the story was always destined to unfold in this way. So the question remains, how much of this is true? How much is observation? How much is rumor? And how much is carefully curated narrative? That's the tension that keeps the story gripping. The bar owner's account gives us glimpses into a world rarely seen, filled with power, risk, and influence. And as we move to the next chapter, we'll dive into the specific allegations she makes, the explosive claims about Meghan's interactions, the people she met, and the events that allegedly shaped her path to global fame. Have you ever wondered what happens when ambition collides with danger? When someone steps into circles where wealth, influence, and risk mingle in ways most of us could never imagine. According to the Argentine bar owner, this is exactly the world Meghan Markle allegedly navigated. And it's here, amid whispers and high-stakes connections, that claims of cocaine ties begin to surface. It started subtly, the bar owner recalls. Patrons would come and go, some regulars, some more notorious. These weren't the casual socialites who attended charity galas or movie premieres. No, these were men and women with reputations that preceded them, reputations tied to shadowy dealings, networks that operated in secrecy, and, according to the bar owner, individuals connected to cocaine distribution. And Meghan, according to her, was not just present. She was participating. She was allegedly acting as a bridge between clients, facilitators, and the exclusive circles that held influence. The bar owner emphasizes that Meghan's alleged interactions were never accidental. She knew who she was talking to, who could open doors, and who could cause problems, she says. It wasn't naivete. It wasn't luck. It was strategy, the kind that walks a thin line between charm and calculated maneuvering. The bar owner paints a picture of someone who understood both risk and reward, someone who could navigate conversations that could spiral out of control in an instant. And here's the chilling part. Some of these patrons, according to the bar owner, had criminal connections, cocaine networks, smuggling operations, and underground dealings that were whispered about, but rarely confirmed. Meghan allegedly didn't shy away. She allegedly engaged, charmed, and facilitated interactions that, if true, required not just courage, but an acute understanding of the environment. The bar owner describes nights where the stakes were high, the energy tense, and the consequences potentially catastrophic. It's easy to picture it. Dim lighting, the soft thrum of music, the clinking of glasses, laughter mixing with muted threats. Everyone knows someone could be watching, listening, reporting. In that world, every word matters. Every smile carries weight. And according to the bar owner, Meghan operated in it flawlessly, maintaining control while others faltered under pressure. The bar owner even recalls conversations that allegedly hinted at Meghan's awareness of the power dynamics around her. She would listen carefully, interject subtly, and sometimes redirect attention with such finesse that no one realized the influence she was exerting. According to the bar owner, this is where Meghan's alleged cocaine ties intersect with her social strategy. It wasn't just about mingling. It was about positioning herself within a network of people who had influence and reach, some of whom were allegedly tied to illegal activity. Now, you might be asking, how does someone transition from this world to Hollywood or royalty without leaving evidence behind? That's part of what makes this story compelling. The bar owner insists that Meghan was extraordinarily careful. She navigated these circles with charm and discretion, aware that a misstep could have serious repercussions. In this version of events, the ability to maintain composure, manage relationships, and strategically influence others wasn't just a talent. It was a survival skill. The bar owner describes specific nights where the line between danger and opportunity was razor thin. Allegedly, Meghan would attend parties where cocaine was present, not as a user in the public sense, but as part of the network that surrounded her. She would interact with individuals known for their connections to these substances, and the bar owner claims she facilitated introductions, smoothed tensions, and sometimes negotiated terms, all with an ease that left other patrons astonished. There are contradictions here, of course, that make the story even more gripping. On the one hand, we have the glamorous, polished public figure who attended award shows, TV appearances, and eventually royal events. On the other hand, the bar owner's account suggests a private world filled with danger, risk, and morally ambiguous interactions. That tension between public image and alleged private dealings is exactly what keeps audiences captivated. And it doesn't stop there. The bar owner alleges that Meghan's interactions with these individuals weren't casual. She was, according to her, actively managing her relationships, understanding leverage, and strategically navigating potentially dangerous networks. Some patrons, reportedly, were impressed. Others were cautious, and a few were reportedly wary of her skill, recognizing that she could wield influence quietly, subtly, and effectively. The bar owner also hints at incidents that skirted the edge of legality. Meetings that could have gone wrong, negotiations that required delicate handling, and moments where the wrong word could have endangered reputations or safety. According to her, Meghan handled these situations with a poise that belied her age, experience, and apparent youthfulness. This isn't just about charisma. It's about acute situational awareness, emotional intelligence, and strategic thinking under pressure. Of course, every claim carries controversy. The bar owner acknowledges this. She emphasizes that some of what she observed was circumstantial, based on interactions, timing, and context. But she is adamant that patterns emerged, patterns of behavior that suggest Meghan's involvement in circles tied to cocaine distribution, at least socially and strategically. It's this blend of observation and allegation that makes her testimony both compelling and contentious. And here's where the story escalates. The bar owner recounts a night where a particularly high-profile figure arrived unexpectedly. Tension skyrocketed. Patrons whispered, some visibly nervous. Allegedly, Meghan navigated the situation with extraordinary finesse, defusing potential conflict and maintaining control without anyone outside the room realizing the stakes. The bar owner recalls thinking, she's not just surviving, she's controlling it all. It's moments like this that allegedly established Meghan's reputation within these circles. She wasn't just another attendee. She was someone who could influence outcomes, manage volatile interactions, and position herself advantageously. The bar owner's perspective paints a picture of someone operating in morally gray areas, yet excelling, thriving, and building networks that would later be instrumental in her rise to Hollywood fame. And the contradictions continue. The bar owner repeatedly emphasizes that Meghan's charm and poise were genuine, yet strategically deployed. She was personable, engaging, and seemingly sincere, but there was an underlying current of calculation, a sense that every action, every word, every gesture was carefully considered. That duality is what makes the allegations about her cocaine ties both sensational and plausible within this narrative. Some of the most explosive claims involve interactions with individuals who were more than mere acquaintances. According to the bar owner, these were influential figures with reputations that could intimidate even seasoned insiders. Meghan allegedly didn't just survive these encounters. She allegedly excelled, maintaining relationships, building trust, and positioning herself within a network that extended far beyond the bar's walls. The bar owner even hints at connections that foreshadowed Meghan's eventual Hollywood ambitions. She suggests that the skills she allegedly honed navigating these risky circles, charisma, strategy, discretion, influence, were transferable and ultimately instrumental in her transition from Argentine nightlife to Los Angeles' entertainment industry. In this version of events, every interaction, every relationship, every maneuver was building towards something much larger. Yet, there is an emotional tension here as well. The bar owner expresses frustration, awe, and even concern. She saw someone talented and ambitious, yes, but also someone engaging in potentially dangerous circles. There's a mixture of admiration for Meghan's abilities and worry over the implications of her actions. It's a complicated emotional landscape, full of contradictions, just like the story itself. And here's the question that keeps audiences hooked. If these allegations are true, how much of Meghan's past influenced the narrative we've all consumed? How much of her strategic skill, charm, and poise were shaped in these clandestine environments? And how much did Harry, or anyone else, really understand about the woman he eventually married? The bar owner's account doesn't provide easy answers, but it raises compelling questions that resonate throughout the narrative. How does someone move from the shadowy, high-stakes nightlife of Buenos Aires to the glittering world of Hollywood and eventually the global spotlight? For Meghan Markle, according to the bar owner who observed her early years, the transformation was neither accidental nor purely serendipitous. It was deliberate, calculated, and it allegedly began long before anyone in the public sphere had even heard her name. The bar owner recalls evenings where Meghan would linger after the crowds had thinned, speaking quietly to certain patrons, listening more than she spoke, observing patterns, learning how influence worked in practice, not theory. These were moments that seemed inconsequential at the time, but according to the bar owner, they were the foundation of her future. Every interaction, every favor, every carefully deployed charm. She was building skills, networks, and strategies that would later become her arsenal in Hollywood and beyond. What's remarkable, the bar owner insists, is the consistency of Meghan's behavior. She wasn't just playing the part for a night, she says. She was always strategic, always aware, always thinking 2 steps ahead. The bar owner emphasizes that this awareness wasn't just cleverness. It was a survival skill honed in a world where one misstep could have serious consequences. In other words, Meghan allegedly mastered the art of calculated social navigation before anyone even knew she existed. And yet, contradictions appear again. The same woman allegedly mingling in circles connected to cocaine networks and high-risk interactions would later present herself as polished, sophisticated, and morally upright in public. How does someone maintain such different personas across such diverse worlds? The bar owner hints that this duality was not accidental. It was intentional. Meghan's ability to present one image publicly while maneuvering strategically behind the scenes, according to her, set the stage for the success and attention she would later command. The bar owner also recalls nights where Meghan would entertain ideas of leaving Argentina entirely. Hollywood was calling, opportunities were emerging, and the allure of a world bigger than Buenos Aires became undeniable. Yet, the bar owner emphasizes that Meghan didn't leave her networks behind. She carried lessons, skills, and, allegedly, relationships forward, elements that would help her navigate the treacherous waters of celebrity culture in Los Angeles. This wasn't just relocation. It was a carefully executed transformation, designed to position her for opportunities that extended far beyond her immediate surroundings. Some of the anecdotes are particularly striking. The bar owner remembers an evening where Meghan allegedly engaged with a high-profile visitor from another country, a man known for influence, wealth, and questionable dealings. She allegedly handled the encounter with such sophistication that the visitor reportedly left impressed, unaware that Meghan was already thinking 3 moves ahead, considering how this interaction could benefit her future ambitions. According to the bar owner, moments like this illustrate the depth of her strategic thinking even before Hollywood beckoned. And the irony is not lost. The very qualities that allegedly allowed Meghan to succeed in these high-stakes environments, charisma, strategic insight, charm, are the same qualities that later propelled her into the public eye. But here's the twist. What made her so effective in private, risky environments could also make her polarizing in the media. People were captivated, yes, but suspicious. Admiring, yes, but wary. And the bar owner's testimony suggests that Meghan was acutely aware of how to balance these perceptions to her advantage. The bar owner also highlights emotional complexity. According to her, Meghan experienced moments of vulnerability even while maintaining outward composure. She faced challenges, risked missteps, and navigated environments that could intimidate even seasoned adults. Yet, she allegedly displayed resilience, adapting quickly to situations, assessing threats, and turning potential setbacks into opportunities. This duality, vulnerability paired with strategic control, is central to understanding the alleged transformation. And then there's the narrative of ambition. According to the bar owner, Meghan was already envisioning a future that went far beyond her immediate world. Hollywood wasn't just a dream. It was a goal she was actively preparing for. Every encounter, every connection, every subtle favor performed in Buenos Aires was, in her mind, a stepping stone toward that larger vision. The bar owner stresses that this wasn't naivety or luck. It was deliberate planning, executed with precision and foresight. But here's where tension spikes again. The bar owner recalls nights when Meghan allegedly had to navigate ethical gray areas, balancing personal gain with public perception, charm with manipulation, strategy with morality. These were not simple interactions. They were tests of judgment, emotional intelligence, and adaptability. And according to the bar owner, Meghan passed these tests repeatedly, demonstrating a capability that foreshadowed her later public success. The bar owner even describes specific instances where Meghan allegedly leveraged relationships from her Argentine years to secure introductions, gain visibility, or create opportunities in Hollywood. These connections weren't merely social, they were strategic assets. The bar owner paints a picture of someone always aware of the broader game, someone who could anticipate needs, manage perceptions, and position herself advantageously. It's this skill set that, if true, explains how Meghan transitioned seemingly seamlessly from relative obscurity to global prominence. And yet, the contradictions remain. The same woman allegedly engaged in morally and legally ambiguous social interactions would later present herself as an advocate for causes, a diplomat in royal circles, and a public figure commanding respect. How do we reconcile these two narratives? According to the bar owner, the answer lies in Meghan's calculated transformation. She allegedly knew what to reveal, what to hide, and how to craft an image that would captivate, inspire, and ultimately protect her. The emotional beats are also striking. The bar owner recalls a mix of admiration, disbelief, and frustration. Admiration for Meghan's skill and foresight, disbelief at the audacity of some of her alleged maneuvers, and frustration that the broader world might never fully grasp the complexity of her early years. The tension in these emotions mirrors the tension in the story itself, the interplay of risk, reward, morality, and ambition. And then comes a pivotal moment, according to the bar owner. It was a night when Meghan allegedly confronted a situation that could have derailed her trajectory entirely. A disagreement, a misunderstanding, a potentially explosive interaction with someone influential. And yet, she allegedly managed it with poise, turning a potential disaster into a moment that reinforced her strategic position. The bar owner recalls thinking that this night demonstrated not only skill, but also the kind of resilience and foresight that would define Meghan's later life. The irony is sharp. The qualities that allowed Meghan to navigate dangerous, morally complex environments are the same qualities that made her media-savvy, effective in public relations, and capable of managing intense scrutiny. The bar owner's account suggests that her transformation was not just about leaving a past behind. It was about using lessons learned in risk-laden environments to succeed in new, highly visible arenas. Have you ever seen something that made you question everything you thought you knew about someone? something that shifts the image you've built in your mind in an instant? According to the Argentine bar owner, Meghan Markle's past contains moments that, if revealed, could do exactly that. She claims there are photos, videos, and other evidence from Meghan's Buenos Aires days, images and footage that the public has never seen, that show a very different side of her life. The bar owner says these weren't the casual snapshots we scroll past on social media. These were intimate, sometimes compromising moments, scenes captured in nightlife settings where glamour, risk, and secrecy collided. According to her, some of these images show Meghan interacting with individuals who, in those circles, were known to have connections to cocaine networks. The bar owner doesn't claim Meghan was a criminal, but she suggests these visuals reveal her navigating situations that most of us would never encounter. Imagine it: low-lit rooms, music vibrating through walls, whispers cutting through laughter. Meghan, poised as ever, engages with people whose influence and reputation are intimidating. And according to the bar owner, cameras, phones, and even surveillance captured moments where her charm, her strategy, and her presence were on full display. These were not staged photographs. They were candid, real-time glimpses into the complexity of her life at the time. One particularly striking anecdote involves a party at an exclusive residence. The bar owner recalls that the atmosphere was charged: powerful men and women, some with rumored illicit ties, others with wealth that could move markets. Meghan allegedly moved effortlessly, laughing, conversing, and managing multiple interactions simultaneously. And according to the bar owner, footage exists from that night showing Meghan handling a potentially volatile situation with composure, charm, and strategic precision. It's the kind of scene that reads like a movie script, but the bar owner insists it was real. And here's where curiosity spikes. The bar owner hints that some of these images and videos have surfaced in the past, in private circles, but never reached the public eye. She describes a chain of possession: friends of friends, partygoers who thought the content was harmless, people who didn't realize the potential consequences. The images, according to her, were not meant to embarrass, but to document, to capture moments in time. And yet, in the wrong hands, they could tell a very different story than the one most of the world believes. The emotional tension here is palpable. The bar owner expresses a mix of fear, awe, and frustration. She is afraid of the power these images could hold if released irresponsibly, in awe of Meghan's ability to navigate those environments with skill, and frustrated that the public narrative ignores these formative years. According to her, understanding these images is key to understanding how Meghan became the woman she is today. Some of the most controversial claims involve interactions with specific individuals. According to the bar owner, some of the footage shows Meghan in the company of people who could have threatened her or exploited her if she misstepped. And yet, she allegedly handled herself flawlessly, turning potentially risky situations into moments of control and influence. The bar owner emphasizes that these aren't stories of recklessness. They are stories of calculated engagement in environments that required keen awareness and emotional intelligence. But contradictions abound. On the surface, these images suggest a glamorous, confident young woman thriving in elite social circles. Yet the bar owner insists that behind the charm were layers of calculation, strategic maneuvering, and understanding of complex social dynamics. It's a dual narrative, one public, one private. The images may capture both simultaneously: glamour on the surface, strategy beneath. And here's where tension escalates. The bar owner recounts a particular set of images that, she claims, were taken during a private gathering in which powerful figures allegedly connected to cocaine networks were present. Meghan is in the frame, poised, smiling, but the subtext, according to the bar owner, tells a different story. These photos allegedly reveal how she balanced charm and influence, gaining trust while maintaining awareness of the potential dangers surrounding her. It's the kind of visual evidence that raises questions, fuels speculation, and keeps audiences riveted. The bar owner also notes the irony of these images. Meghan, the public figure adored by millions and later scrutinized by the press, was allegedly already navigating environments of high risk and moral ambiguity years before she became a household name. These images, if verified, could illuminate the skills, instincts, and calculated charm that allowed her to transition seamlessly into Hollywood and, eventually, royal life. It's a transformation captured not in headlines, but in candid frames, unseen by the public eye. Some of the alleged video footage is even more dramatic. According to the bar owner, there are recordings of interactions in private rooms where deals were discussed, alliances were formed, and tension ran high. Meghan allegedly played a role in these interactions, not as a participant in a legal activity, but as a mediator, a connector, a strategic observer. She maintained her composure, smiled when necessary, and positioned herself advantageously. The bar owner claims these videos show a level of skill and sophistication that would impress even seasoned professionals navigating high-stakes social networks. The contradictions continue to drive intrigue. On one hand, Meghan appears carefree, charming, and engaging. On the other hand, the bar owner insists she is calculating, always aware of how her behavior could impact her future trajectory. The images and videos, she says, capture both facets of her persona simultaneously, a duality that defines the tension of the story. The audience is left wondering, how much of what we see publicly is performance, and how much is calculated strategy honed in private? And the stakes are further heightened by the bar owner's suggestion that some of these visuals were shared, discreetly, among a network of people who understood their potential significance. She hints at whispered discussions, speculation, and quiet acknowledgement of the skill Meghan displayed. While the content was never intended for mass consumption, its existence adds layers to the narrative, evidence, perhaps, of a past carefully curated and managed, yet not entirely invisible. The emotional beats are striking here. The bar owner recalls admiration for Meghan's ability to manage complex social situations while simultaneously experiencing frustration at the potential for misinterpretation. The images, she insists, are contextually rich, revealing not only what happened, but how Meghan navigated the psychological and social dynamics at play. This is where the story becomes compelling. Not just scandalous, but a study of influence, strategy, and human behavior under pressure. Have you ever met someone whose presence commands a room before they even speak? Now imagine that room filled with people who could ruin your life with a single word, a single glance, or a misstep. According to the Argentine bar owner, this was the environment Meghan Markle allegedly inhabited long before Hollywood or royalty. These were nights where influence and intimidation intertwined, where danger was as present as the music in the background, and where Meghan allegedly learned to navigate it all with skill and poise. The bar owner describes a handful of particularly memorable encounters. Men and women with reputations that preceded them, some wealthy, some feared, some both, crossed paths with Meghan regularly. Some were rumored to be linked to cocaine distribution networks, others connected to underground dealings whose reach extended far beyond Buenos Aires. And according to the bar owner, Meghan wasn't intimidated. She engaged. She charmed. She negotiated. She survived and thrived, where many would have faltered. One story stands out. The bar owner recalls an evening when a notoriously volatile individual arrived unannounced. His reputation made even seasoned staff uneasy. Tension crackled in the air as he surveyed the room. Patrons shifted, conversations faltered, and eyes darted nervously. But Meghan, allegedly, remained calm. She approached him, smiled, spoke in measured tones, and diffused the tension without anyone noticing. According to the bar owner, it wasn't luck. It was instinct, strategy, and a level of emotional intelligence few possess. These alleged encounters weren't just about charm. They were about survival. The bar owner emphasizes that these figures weren't people you could negotiate with casually. Mistakes could have consequences. Allegedly, Meghan understood that fully. She was aware of reputations, histories, and unspoken rules. Every word, every gesture, every smile was carefully considered. And according to the bar owner, this awareness became part of her toolkit, a skill set that would later serve her in Hollywood, media circles, and even in royal interactions. But here's the tension that makes this story compelling. The bar owner paints Meghan as both vulnerable and calculated, confident yet cautious. There were nights when she allegedly faced genuine risk, moments when an offhand comment could escalate into confrontation. And yet, she allegedly maintained composure, maneuvering through these encounters with an elegance that concealed the danger she faced. It's a paradox. A young woman simultaneously exposed and in control, operating in a world few outsiders could imagine. The bar owner recalls one particularly fraught night involving a man with rumored ties to organized crime. Allegedly, he approached Meghan in a way that made the staff uneasy. According to her, Meghan didn't panic. Instead, she engaged, listened, and subtly redirected the conversation to diffuse potential danger. By the end of the evening, the man reportedly left impressed, unaware that she had maneuvered the interaction to her advantage. Moments like these, the bar owner insists, illustrate why Meghan was able to later navigate Hollywood and, eventually, the public scrutiny of royal life. And the contradictions deepen. The same woman allegedly negotiating with potentially dangerous figures in dimly lit rooms would later project an image of innocence, sophistication, and empathy on television and in public appearances. How does someone reconcile these two personas? The bar owner hints that Meghan's skill lay in her ability to compartmentalize, to adapt to each environment, and to present the version of herself that was most advantageous at the time. This duality, according to the bar owner, is at the heart of her transformation. There were also moments of risk that went beyond interpersonal interactions. According to the bar owner, Meghan sometimes found herself in situations where loyalty, discretion, and timing mattered as much as charm. One wrong move, one misread cue, and the outcome could have been catastrophic. Yet she allegedly navigated these circumstances with precision, learning lessons about power, influence, and social navigation that would shape her future interactions on a much larger stage. The bar owner's testimony includes an anecdote that is both chilling and revealing. She recalls a night when a disagreement between patrons escalated into a near-physical confrontation. Tension was thick, and the room collectively held its breath. Meghan allegedly stepped in. Not with force, but with words, gestures, and a calm demeanor that redirected the situation. She turned potential chaos into cooperation, allegedly gaining the respect of both sides. The bar owner reflects on this, emphasizing how unusual it was for someone so young to manage such a high-pressure scenario effectively. It's this combination of charm, strategy, and awareness that allegedly positioned Meghan uniquely within these circles. According to the bar owner, people noticed her ability to navigate risk without panic, to influence outcomes subtly, and to remain poised in situations where most would falter. These aren't just anecdotes. They are the foundation of the narrative suggesting that Meghan's early experiences in Argentina prepared her for life under intense scrutiny. And yet, the bar owner is clear about the stakes. She repeatedly stresses that these were not casual social interactions. Some patrons were known to engage in illicit activities. The environment was unpredictable, and reputation was everything. Meghan's alleged ability to maintain composure and control in this environment, the bar owner insists, is a testament to her skill, awareness, and perhaps even foresight. Some of the more striking details involve moments of calculated risk. According to the bar owner, Meghan allegedly engaged with individuals whose influence could have been dangerous if mishandled. She observed cues, anticipated reactions, and positioned herself advantageously, all while maintaining an image of effortless charm. The bar owner emphasizes that these skills were not innate. They were honed through experience, observation, and necessity. But here's the paradox that keeps this story gripping. The very skills that allegedly allowed Meghan to navigate potentially dangerous figures would later become key to her success in Hollywood and the royal spotlight. Charm, influence, awareness, and strategic engagement are qualities celebrated in public life, but in these early encounters, they were tools for survival, negotiation, and positioning. The bar owner's account suggests a continuity, a thread connecting her alleged early experiences to the poised, controlled figure the world would eventually know. Have you ever wondered what it takes to go from relative obscurity to the bright lights of Hollywood? For Meghan Markle, according to the Argentine bar owner, this was more than ambition. It was strategy in motion. After years navigating the high-stakes nightlife of Buenos Aires, allegedly mingling with influential and sometimes dangerous figures, she was ready to step into a world where appearances mattered as much as talent, and where every word, every smile, and every move could either launch a career or destroy it. The transition, according to the bar owner, wasn't accidental. Meghan left Buenos Aires with a plan. She carried lessons learned, networks established, and skills honed through navigating volatile social environments. Charm was no longer just a survival tool, it was currency. Strategy was no longer only for protection, it was a way to influence, impress, and rise. And Hollywood, with its glossy allure and high-stakes networking, was the perfect next stage. The bar owner recalls hearing stories of Meghan's arrival in Los Angeles. She immediately sought out opportunities in television and film, leveraging connections, charisma, and skill to secure auditions. According to the owner, Meghan wasn't naive about the competitive nature of Hollywood. She understood it intimately. Each audition, each meeting,